Hi everyone, my name is Maribel. I'm a counselor here at Merced Adult School, and this week we're going to be talking about how to manage test anxiety. I know I've had that myself growing up, worried about tests, and I never did well with tests because I would be super anxious. But, you know, I really want to talk about what it is, what causes it, why it's important, and some tips to help you with your test anxiety. Okay. Um, have you been have you ever had that experience where you study really hard and when you start your test, like you seem to blink and forget about everything you worked so hard and studied for? You know, maybe you're taking your test and time just flies. And you start breathing, heavier, and at the end of the day, like you see everyone getting done with their test and you just haven't done anything. That's been me. I've been one of those. I don't know, you just worry so much, you're so into your head. So test anxiety is when you have tension and there's high pressures because maybe it's gonna determine whether you pass, whether you get a good grade, right? You worry, you're dreading it, your fear of failure that occurs before, but it's the fear of failure that occurs usually before you take like any testing situations. Well, it can be debilitating. It really can derail the hard work that you did the night before, if not the whole couple weeks you've been preparing for it. So what causes test anxiety? So it is the fear of failure, the fear of not measuring up, the fear of the unknown, not being prepared, and thinking like your life will be over because I know sometimes we get that extreme. Maybe you had bad experiences while taking tests in the past. So it's like trauma and you're triggered because of your bad experiences. But I want you guys to know that anxiety is very common. Anxiety affects 40 million adults, just about 18% of our population. So you're not alone. I think it's normal to feel some kind of anxiety because anxiety comes from a lot of stress, which if you didn't know, when you're stressed about things, because you care. So like that's a good positive thing. Like you care a lot. That's why you stress a lot, and that's why you might have anxiety. And a little bit of anxiety can kind of sometimes help you. So in your performance, but not too much. It can be worse, right? Just keep this in mind. Grades and test scores do not reflect your really true abilities. I'm a big proponent of that, and I was never good at testing, SAT testing. I barely got, like, I remember getting a 950, and you get an 800 just for putting your name on it. So obviously I didn't do well. I don't remember any of the tests. I would not do well, and it really made me feel like I wasn't good enough. But look at me now. I feel pretty good now. I've done good with my life. So just remember that our test. It's just a form to, it's just something that helps measure some stuff, but it's not everything. It doesn't reflect who you are and your identity. So why is it important? Well, like I said, a little bit is okay, but when it starts interfering with your performance, you really should consider it. Like it's really affecting everything, your grades and everything like that. Too much stress turns into anxiety. Okay? And too much, it can really affect your health and, your overall health and any kind of performance that you do, right? So that's why it's important. You don't want it to lead into some mental health issues like anxiety or even depression when you're worrying too much. So that's why you want to take care of your mental health. So tips. What can you do? Well, one of the easy things that you can do, like the fear of not being prepared, properly prepare. properly prep. Have study time. So make sure you can test yourself. Don't cram everything the night before. I know people are procrastinators waiting. I mean, some people can still do it, but don't do that. Try avoid cramming everything the night before. Review information usually daily if you know you're going to be tested, or weekly. And make sure you schedule some study time. If it's that important to you, then you will schedule some time throughout your day. Time yourself. Make sure you're in a similar situation so you can like replicate the scenario of you taking a test. Sometimes that helps. It's with our anxiety. Okay? And one thing that I always tell people, ask your teacher, or students, ask your teacher, how to prepare for tests and what to expect. You don't think they would tell you, but yeah, they want to tell you. They'll tell you like, okay, be prepared for this, this, and this. They're not going to tell you exactly what they're going to ask you, but they'll give you tips on how to prepare. They want you to do well, because your grades can also be a reflection of how they teach. So yeah, they will help you. Just ask the teacher. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Make sure you get rest, sleep, and eat well. So eat healthy foods that are brain power. They say that blueberries are good for your brain. They help you think, oatmeal, like that. All it's like food brain, Make sure you sleep about 7 to 8 hours a night. Being well rested, you feel prepared for the next day, because sleeping is really, we need it. And it's much needed for our health in general. Make sure you arrive early. I always say in anything, if you're on time, then you're late. If you're early, you're on time. You just never know, what you're going to, what can happen on your way there, what can happen. You never know. So make sure you're at least there 15 minutes early. And in case of something were to happen, you want to make sure you're allowed time to prepare yourself mentally, emotionally. As you're taking the test, read everything carefully, because sometimes we don't read instructions, since that's what gets to us. Read directions so you know you're doing it right. And this is a big help for me. I like to answer the questions that are easiest first, and then leave the last ones, the harder ones, last, because at least you feel like you've completed and you've finished some questions. Instead of like worrying that, oh, you got so many questions, you at least got the ones that are easy out of the way, and then you just have to focus on the hard ones. Okay? You want to, that's what I do. Like, okay, mark the ones that I need to go back to. So do the easy ones first. This is a kind of obvious, but it's physiological. Make sure you are taking deep breaths and relaxing your muscles. How do you do that? I always tell people breathing in and out through your nose is really important, anywhere from 4 to 6 seconds. You can do some mindful meditation where like soothing sounds that can help. People love nature, water, birds, trees. Like, people love listening to that, and that helps them calm down. I like this a lot when everything is going wrong or I do a lot of positive self-talk. I want to make sure I act confidently and tell myself that I'm going to do well. It's like, you're going to do this, you're going to kick butt. But if you don't, you're going to be okay. And that's big. Again, you can't let this define who you are or your identity or what you're able to do. Make sure that you can tell yourself like you're going to be okay, but you're going to do your best and you're going to do well. But worst comes to worst, if you don't, you're going to be okay. It's going to be okay. That's that positive, self-talk. Or you can do some yoga. Yoga tends to kind of center yourself. It's kind of a combination of like getting in touch with your body, getting in touch with, like centering yourself, not being in your head. You definitely want to get back into being in your body and present, because that's what happens with anxiety. You're in your head a lot. Those are my overthinkers. I am one of them. I'm one of them because I'm in my head a lot. I think too much. I worry too much. So I got to remember to ground myself, and yoga can definitely do that. Mindfulness stuff, breathing definitely helps. I've been there. Okay. I want you to also consider your thoughts and find what's wrong with them, find errors. So what do I mean? I don't want you to define you over one test, or you don't want to, or your abilities because you don't do well in this, that means that you're stupid or dumb. No. I need you to separate yourself from the test process and your own identity. You are a person. This is a test. This is not me. Whatever happens with this test is not who I am or what I can do. This is just like a game that you have to play and pass. But it doesn't define who you are or what you can do and give back. I want you to think that. We tend to catastrophize the test results with like being black or white. Oh, it's gonna be this or this. Like if I don't pass this, then I'm never gonna be a nurse. If I don't pass this, I'm never gonna pass the GED. Like if I don't pass this test, I'm stupid. No, like this, like, yeah, right? Let's not do that. Know your worth. As long as you prepare, you do your best, you're gonna learn. Okay? Because they're just minor setbacks. That's how I see it. They're just minor setbacks. You'll learn. Failure is just, you're gonna learn. If you're not failing, you're not learning, right? So if you fail and you don't pass a test, what are you learning from that experience? And I think that's the most important, because when you're learning, you're growing. Okay? So see a failure differently. If you failed something, I need you to look at it differently. You know, I need you to look at it that like I have the opportunity to learn, which is going to help me grow. It sucks, I know, but you'll grow. So if that doesn't help and you really need some help, then I would say consider cognitive behavioral therapy. This is kind of like, maybe it's gone too far and it's really become an issue, like it's really debilitating, like really bad. Then you need to reach out, because sometimes we can't get out of that thinking of like, you know, fear that is be all or end all, or being needing to be perfect, right? It's not one test does not define you, or even your grades, that doesn't define you. It's not really healthy at all. Remember, like I said, failure is just a minor setback. You need to have this growth mindset versus this fixed mindset that it's got to be this, it's this or this. So growth mindset is like you're going to be able to take in and learn from what you didn't do right the first time. So seek professional help to help you with your unrealistic beliefs and thoughts. That's when you need some cognitive behavioral therapy, right? But before you go into cognitive behavioral therapy, maybe you can reach out to teachers, to tutors, to counselors, you know, because actually you may qualify. If you have anxiety, maybe you're going to college, or they have accommodations for people with anxiety. If you've been diagnosed with anxiety, and that's part of testing too, like, because testing is part of the anxiety, like from having anxiety, and you've already tried all these things, you can actually get, you know, if you have a diagnosable things, you can actually receive accommodations where you might be able to be allowed more time, additional time, or you can have a quiet place, or, you know, where you can actually do something because it's that bad, right? But like I said, first seek out, do the best you can, prepare, talk to teachers, talk to tutors, maybe your counselor. And if you really feel like you've done all that, then you should consider cognitive behavioral therapy. And that's like being able to seek and ask for help, because you are suffering from anxiety. It's really interfering a lot with your daily, like in your relationships, maybe, and your work, your school. If it's really interfering in that, then we should really seek and consider therapists that focus on your thinking. CBT, they call it cognitive behavioral therapy. Okay? So, but start out with, your immediate friends, yourself, teachers, tutors, counselors. And then you'll get referred to really see a CBT counselor, cognitive behavioral therapist. That's what I got, you guys. So make sure you prepare yourself for the test. Talk to a teacher to help you prepare for the test. Make sure you get well rest and have a nice diet where you can help you feed your mind. Arrive early. Answer the easiest questions first. Think of deep breathing exercises or muscle relaxation. Consider your thoughts and look at what errors there could be, or even have someone look at that. Well, does that really mean that? Like, just because you think you're not going to pass this, you're never going to pass it. No, you want someone to kind of help you see the errors in your thinking. Even if you can't find them, maybe have a friend help you kind of find them. If not, you can seek out teachers. You can seek out your counselor, and if they can't really help you, then you're looking at your professional help with the CBT therapist. So a cognitive behavioral therapy clinician. Okay, and they can provide a lot more support, intense support. So if you have some test anxiety, hopefully this kind of helped. If you have any suggestions for any future videos, let me know. So just hit the like and subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and until next week, bye.